let's see. You worked on both Say Hi and Untouchable, and you basically solo produced them.
Jim Gedham produced with me too. It was me, Jim Gedham, and Crook in the studio the whole time.
Yeah. So could you tell us a bit about those records?
Which one was the first one? Untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually budgeted that record, man. I went and put up some of my own money, got a budget for it, and we went in the studio. It was me, Crook, and I, and Jim, and we made. That album was so ridiculous at the time, and Suge was in prison, and I think as we were doing the record, I think Crook was tired of waiting around while Suge was in jail. He's like, man, let's do a record, right? So I put up the money for the record, and we went in and cut the album, and it was just so dope. But when Suge got out of prison, I think he wanted to be part of the record, and so we started cutting another record. But if that record would have been put out, I guarantee that record would have been multi-platinum.
It's that good? Damn.
Well, I mean, that's when the West Coast still had a crack and still had juice, too, you know? So right when Suge touched down, even if some of the new songs and that album were combined together, if he would have released that with all the hype with him getting out of prison at that same time, you know, it would have been a big record, man. I don't know why they didn't release it.
Damn, that's crazy. Like, how many tracks do you think were expected to be on it? Like, because I've heard there's, like, different versions of Untouchable. Like, I mean, I've done my version, and then yours version, and somebody else's version, you know what I'm saying?
That's not true. I did the whole, we did the whole record. I think Hutch worked on some of the stuff on, the other Out of the Bad Guy album at Death Row. So, yeah, me and Hutch did it together. I think Hutch did one solo song for Crooked Eye back then, on one of those records. But, you know, the records never came out, so, but, yeah, there wasn't a bunch of different Untouchable. It was one record, it was one album. And Hutch had done one single or one song that was going to go on the first one. And then when we were working on the second album, Hutch was signed with Death Row as well. And so he, myself, and Monster, who plays bass and guitar, and Jim Gedham were producing the other album.
Okay, I get it. Alright.
Yeah, so it's kind of a collaboration. I did a lot of songs just myself as far as production on them as well. I mean, I'd say the majority of them.
Did you ever, like, work with Above the Wall besides when you were doing Crooked Eye sessions and shit like that?
Well, that's how I met Hutch, actually, is when over at Death Row, when I went and first met with Suge when he was in prison. They flew me out to meet him in prison, and then he wanted me to go work on some records, so I met up with Hutch, and we started working together.
Nice, nice. How was the atmosphere around the Death Row studios? Was it, like, a lot calmer than it used to be in, like, 95 and 96 and shit like that?
It was both. You had your regular moments, you know what I mean? A lot of the times it was just me and Monster in the studio just making tracks, you know? Other times there'd be 40 people in there, you know what I mean? You know, you got Bloods on this side, you got Crips in there too, you got, you know, a bunch of Mexican cats in there too, and you Samoans, all mixed into one place. It was like, you know, it was crazy, and there's some nights, you know, everybody was drinking, partying, and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, it just varied. No matter what day, you never knew who was going to come through the doors, you know? Some days, you know, you had, like, Jodeci who walked through the door, and then Too Short, and, you know, then Corrupt came over there, and then he came back to LA while I was working with him over there, doing a lot of records with him.
Right, right.
That was the cool thing. You never knew who was going to walk through the doors, you know? And then Left Eye came. I was really surprised when she showed up.
Yeah, that surprised a lot of people when she signed over to Death Row.
She was cool too. I liked her a lot, man. When she first came in there, I was making a beat, and she just there was a whole bunch of us in there, and she kind of just sat in the corner, and I had to look over twice to see who it was. Like, she had a hoodie on. I'm like, who was that right there? And I looked again, like, fuck, that's Left Eye right there. I remember walking over to her and saying, what's happening, Lopez? You know, and then we just started talking, and she was real cool, and then we ended up working on some records over there.
So, like, for the initial plan for her album, was it like, I've heard a bunch of remixes of, like, Death Row artist features. Did she, like, record any new material for over there, or was she just, like, redoing her old Supernova album?
What happens, we started working on original material over there. I don't know how many songs I did that were original with her. I know Two Street for TV was one of them, and then I did a couple other songs over there with her. And then, you know, that's when she had left to Honduras or whatever, and then she passed away. And I guess, so they gave me the vocals. They wanted me to redo some of the songs for the Supernova album. So they gave me her vocals and were like, yo, can you make beats to these vocals? So, you know, me being the Death Row producer, that was my job to do it. So I made some cuts. I made them the best I can make them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it turned out good, though.
Yeah, it was a hot album, but I don't know what happened it was probably between Arista Records and Death Row, or maybe they couldn't come to an agreement to put out the record or something, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, Death Row artists were featured on Crook and I Eastwood, you know, actually I did a song with her, Juvenile, and Corrupt, too.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Wasn't it Hotlanta or something like that?
Yeah, exactly, Hotlanta.
All right, and then, let's see. Tell us a bit about the Say Hi to the Bad Guy record, since we covered Untouchable. I mean, like, because there's like a bunch of different guest features, because there's been like so many Say Hi to the Bad Guy bootlegs that have came out, and you know, like we're wondering, like, who were the features that were supposed to be on the final version?
What was that? Who was the what?
Like, who was supposed to be on, like, the final version of Say Hi to the Bad Guy? Because there's been so many different bootlegs of it that have been put out with different features and such. Like, no one knows.
You know what? We cut so many songs over there that we never said, okay, this is a song that need to cut. That's why there's so many songs that are over there. You know, we were just cutting records every day. I was in the studio 6 days a week making beats. It was like a beat-making factory. I can make beats probably faster than anybody in the world, man. You know, if you get me in the studio with an MP and some keyboards, like, I'll battle any producer there is, and I'll make it track. Just because of the things that I had to go through and do, you know.
Right.
And I can't play the instruments and everything, you know. So it was like a boot camp for beat making.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many songs. There's so many beats that are still over there that people never heard. You know, it's a shame. And it's crazy how they're all getting released on the internet and shit, and I don't get any royalties from it, you know.
Yeah, the funny thing is, they employed the guy who leaked your records and shit, right? And he's over there, he's doing the web shit. And I'm like, don't you realize this guy is like ripping off artists and stuff? You know, I mean, I believe everybody should get the royalties. Like, people like me, you know, other people, we didn't make these records. People like you, Crooked Eye, etc. You know, you guys made the records. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It sucks that we did all that work, and then someone else will probably benefit off it, or they're leaking it out. I don't know what the hell is going on over there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean,
I left a message for those people over there. They never called me back, but they sure as hell released my music. It's dirty, is what it is.